Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I've been talking to some people from North Dakota today, and all of a sudden, I can't think straight. Go figure. That's okay. Anyway, guys, we're on the air today with your emergency preparedness broadcast. This is Preparedness Friday. This is definitely Emergency Preparedness Friday. Now, I want to talk about a lot of things today. Okay, we've had some earthquakes. We've had some earthquakes, not major earthquakes, but we've had some earthquakes around the world. And I think we need to address them before we get started talking about emergency preparedness specifically. I want to get into emergency preparedness because this is what we do, one, on Friday, and two, we do it to make sure we are all prepared. I start off the program talking about events that have just happened, and I want to start off the program today doing just that. So let's go over to our USGS map first, okay? Okay, let me take down our banner here. Let me take down our webcam. Again, we're right this map here, or this map right here, is focusing on the Pacific Northwest. And there's, according to the USGS, nothing to talk about. Really nothing to talk about because they don't want us to talk about it. Plain and simple. They don't want us to talk about it. And now the map won't move. Just go figure. Just give me a second, guys. I'll fix this, as I always do. When USGS stops the map from working, that means I just have to play games with them. I hate this. I really hate it. Hi, Crystal. That's my dog. One of my dogs, Crystal, that you're hearing in the background. She's had a tough time since her mom's been gone. So we're going to give Crystal a little bit of latitude today and tomorrow and probably into Sunday. Now, first off on this map, okay, I want to make sure everybody understands what we're looking at here. Okay, first off on this map, over here off the southeast side, the Kamchatka Peninsula, what do we have? More earthquakes. These are all aftershocks from that 8.0, even 8.4 earthquake that struck here just about a week ago. Still having earthquakes here, naturally. These earthquakes will be striking here for a great while now. That was a major earthquake when it first hit. It still is. Still shaking. This earthquake here is a 6.1 earthquake. We've had 7.2s, we've had 7.0s, we've had 6.8s, 6.5s, and we're having 6.1 earthquakes here as well. We've had a lot of 5s as well. We've had some 5.0s, 5.1s, 5.3s, and 5.5s. Those are large earthquakes. This 6.1 here is a very strong earthquake. Okay, but they're still, all of these are still in the 6.2 depth magnitude range, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Every one of these earthquakes, including the 7.8, 8.4 earthquake that struck here, was 6.2 earthquake. I'm not sorry, 6.2. It was a 6.2 depth, 6.2 miles deep. Not a big deal because all of these earthquakes are at the same depth, meaning they originated in the same place. When we have a magnitude earthquake like we had, very shallow depth and a large magnitude, what do we have? We have great shaking. The shallower the earthquake, the more shaking we're going to get, and you're going to feel it. If people were out here off the shore or onshore from the Kamchatka Peninsula and this earthquake had hit, they would have felt it greatly. But because it's offshore here, there may be people here on the Kamchatka Peninsula, but they're not going to feel it as much. They're going to feel something, but they're not going to feel the greater impact of this shallow quake. Okay, but I want to show you this because the area is still shaking. Down here to the south, this is a large 5.2 earthquake. Just south of the larger shaker here today is a 4.6 mark quake. This one right next to it to the north is a 4.7 moderate quake. This is a 4.9 5.0. 4.9 5.0 large earthquake. Whenever USGS shows us a 0.9 anything, it's usually at least a magnitude greater than it is. When USGS shows us anything, they downgrade their quakes so we know for a fact that it was a magnitude greater, at least one magnitude greater. In this case, a 5.0 quake. Just north of there here is a 4.4. Out here to the northwest here is another 5.8. This 5.8 hit here yesterday at 6:39 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're still getting large, we're getting moderate quakes, and we're getting very strong 6.1. This is going to happen for weeks and even months after this earthquake hit. These are all aftershocks. These are called aftershocks, guys. Okay, let's go further south here. Again, I want to emphasize that USGS does not always tell us the truth. They never tell us the exact truth. There are earthquakes here in Japan, but again, USGS is not showing them. They are 4.4 and 4.6 earthquakes off the east coast of Japan here. Down south here, down south. This is in Kyushu. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. This is a large 5.0 earthquake, and this is 7 miles offshore. So these people over here in Nagasaki felt this quake. These people in Nagasaki felt this quake. Okay? They felt this quake. They're going to continue to feel quakes when it's this close to shore. 7 miles offshore is not far enough. The waters of the ocean absorbed most of the shock waves of this quake, but the people over here in Nagasaki did feel some shaking here. Okay? Now let's continue on. Down here in Taiwan, I do not think we had any quakes today. Over here in the Philippines, yes, we had some quakes, and USGS has only shown us 2 quakes here. There are actually 4. This is a 4.8 moderate quake here, 46 kilometers deep. This is a 4.4 here, just up the southeast shore of Mindanao, Philippines. Actually, not Mindanao, but Mindanao, Philippines. This is a 4.4, and this is also 4.8. 46 kilometers deep, where the 4.4 is 68 kilometers deep. They came from different places. They're also along the same fault ridge here in the Philippine Sea. This is the Philippine Fault, okay, on the same ridge here. Okay, let's go over here into Indonesia. Look at this, guys. They're showing us only 2 quakes. What a joke. There are 26, or actually, well, I'm not even going to count that one north of Sumatra because that is over in, well, let me just show it to you. This earthquake here is in the Nicobar Islands. In the Nicobar Islands, they belong to India. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. This is 82 kilometers deep. Or sorry, not kilometers. This is 82 miles deep. Okay? This is Sumatra. This is Sumatra, Indonesia here. What are we seeing? This is a large 5.1 earthquake. Okay? That's not bad. This is also 80 miles offshore. 80 miles offshore. This earthquake here hit in the hilly region, the western hilly region of Sumatra. There are volcanoes in this area. This north of Bengkulu, Indonesia. This is a moderate 4.4 earthquake. moderate 4.4 earthquake. Yes, 4.4 earthquakes like this cause minor damage. They cause minor damage. They knock pictures and things off of walls. They cause books and knickknacks to fall off shelves. They can cause plates and glasses and such to rattle around in cupboards. And if they rattle around enough, they're going to come out of the cupboards. That's one of the reasons when we talk about emergency preparedness for earthquakes, we want to make sure that you put these baby locks on your cupboards. Put these baby locks on your cupboards because those baby locks on your cupboards will prevent the pots and pans, the dishes and plates, and even glasses from falling out of the cupboards. Secure your cupboards. Secure your cupboards. But these are the only 2 earthquakes here in Indonesia that they're talking about. There's 26 earthquakes here. 26 earthquakes here in Indonesia, and they talk about 2. Unreal. They don't know what they're doing. I honestly believe that the politicians have complete control over the USGS, and they honestly have been doing this same kind of crap for so long that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know anything else. The managers have been told by the politicians to not show all the earthquakes, so they don't. And it seems like they show less and less earthquakes on a world map or on the United States map completely. They should be showing all earthquakes, but they don't do it. They don't believe they have to. I believe they do. We go over here to Papua New Guinea. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake here. This is 44 miles west-southwest of Tare, Papua New Guinea. Tare, Papua New Guinea. Okay? Also notice where it's at. It's on the southern side of the hilly region here, the mountainous region here in Papua New Guinea. Okay? Again, 4.8 earthquakes can cause some minor damage. Here in this area, these moderate earthquakes this size can cause major damage because, again, these people don't have much money. As I said before, they make about $500 a year. A year. So what just very meager things that they have can be destroyed by an earthquake of this size. Unfortunately. We love those people and we want and pray for their best. We pray that they have the best life possible. Now let's go over here to Australia. Again, the USPS is not showing anything at all, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Let's go over here to New Zealand here. Yes, you see this earthquake south of New Zealand here? Yes, it's there. It's actually south of Australia. South of Australia. Let's take a look at this earthquake. This is a 6.2. A very strong 6.2 magnitude earthquake. This is west of Macquarie Island. West of Macquarie Island. Macquarie Island is over here. Macquarie Island is over here. Okay? Macquarie Island actually belongs to Australia, but the people from New Zealand and Australia both work there. Okay? It's an outpost. It used to be a military outpost. Now it is a scientific outpost, mainly watching birds. Mainly watching seabirds. That's all they do. Okay? Like I said, during World War II, it was a military outpost. Now it's a bird watching facility. There's about anywhere from 15 to 42 people there around the year. About anywhere from 14 to 50 people there year round. Okay? This is out in the Indian Ocean here. Nothing's going to happen here. Nothing's going to happen. This is this is a very strong earthquakes are 6.0 to 6.9. This is a very strong 6.2 earthquake. Going over here into New Zealand, right here. This is over here on the east side of the main island, Ra'u Island. This is North Island of New Zealand. Now, the thing that's incredible about this, okay, they are expecting a major earthquake here on the eastern shores of Raoul Island. Why? Because this whole area is a huge subduction zone. Sometime they say within the next 25 years, Raoul Island here on the east side will get a major subduction quake, an 8.0 major subduction quake. This earthquake here off the northeast shore of Raoul Island, Raule, is a 5.0 earthquake, a large 5.0 earthquake. This is 35 miles east-northeast of Walnut. I'm sorry, not Walnut. I misread that name. Wainui, Wainui, New Zealand. 5.0 large earthquake. It's a very shallow earthquake as well. It's only 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Okay? Unreal. Now, did the people on Raoul Island feel that quake? I doubt it. They felt some shaking, but I don't think they got the full gist of that earthquake. This is a 5.0 earthquake, far enough offshore that I think they may have felt some low rumbling over on the North Island here. Okay, let's go over here to Tonga. Actually, this is just northwest of Tonga. This is near Mata Utu, Wallis Futuna Islands. Mata Utu, Wallis Futuna Islands, just northwest of Tonga and north of Fiji. Okay, this is a very strong 6.6 earthquake. A very strong 6.6 earthquake here. Now, some of these islands here in Wallis Futuna are manned. They have people living on them. They're inhabited. Now, this is still offshore here. This is still offshore. This is 109 miles south-southeast of Mata Utu. This is a 6.6 earthquake just south of Mata Utu, Wallis Futuna Islands. So I don't think anybody at all felt this earthquake. The waters of the Pacific Ocean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. Okay, yes, it is a very strong quake. Okay, now, before we go on, I want to tell you this. Yes, we have had some solar flares. We've had some moderate solar flares, and I believe they have contributed to the earthquakes that we're seeing here. We have not had, I don't believe we've had an X-class flare, and I do believe we're going to have an X-class flare very soon. These solar flares that we get from the sun take about anywhere from 7 hours to 24 hours to get their X-ray radiation here to this Earth. However, the plasma radiation takes anywhere from 2 to 3 days to reach the Earth. Okay? But we're still having earthquakes here. We're still having earthquakes here. And as a result, we're seeing those solar flares causing the earthquakes here on Earth. That's a fact. Now let me explain how that happens. The solar flares leave the sun like this. Whole mess of solar radiation, plasma radiation leaving the sun. It comes out through space, and every planet in between Earth and the sun feels some part of that solar radiation. The plasma radiation comes like this and completely engulfs the planet. Completely engulfs the planet like this. However, the Earth-facing part of the sun gets it before the rest of the planet does, but it's only a matter of minutes or hours before the entire planet is engulfed in the plasma radiation. Why? What happens to us here on Earth? What happens to the Earth when it gets hit by that plasma radiation? Let me just briefly tell you about it, okay? We have some more earthquakes I want to talk about, but I want to first tell you about why and how this plasma radiation affects the Earth, okay? When it engulfs the Earth like this, some of the plasma radiation is deflected from the Earth by the magnetosphere that surrounds the Earth. However, Our magnetosphere is very weak right now. It was weak because we're only 2 years out from the solar maximum or solar minimum that we were in. Now we are in a solar maximum. I believe the solar maximum is building our magnetosphere as we speak. But the magnetosphere is still letting a large amount of plasma radiation and other particles from space into our Earth's atmosphere. The plasma radiation engulfs the planet Earth like this. The plasma radiation goes through the magnetosphere and through our atmosphere and hits the Earth. But it also goes down through the surface of the Earth as well. It goes all the way to the core of the Earth, and the core heats up as well. But prior to the core, it hits the tectonic plates. It hits the earthquake faults. Why do we have to worry about that? Because the earthquake faults and the plates are held together by friction. The tectonic plates and the earthquake faults are held together by friction. What's holding it there? All that gunk and grime that holds the plates and the faults in place. Sand, dirt, gravel, biological material, dead plants, decaying plants, all that stuff is held together, holds those plants or the plates and the earthquake faults together. When that plasma radiation hits the Earth, it makes all that gunk and grime into an oily, greasy-like substance that allows the plates and the faults to more freely move like this. When that happens, we have major earthquakes around the planet. Major earthquakes around the planet, and we're going to see major earthquakes still happen. So far, I only believe we've seen some very strong sixes. But I believe we're going to have some 7.0 and larger earthquakes very soon. It's going to happen. This earthquake over in Wallace, Fortuna says that. It was a 6.6 earthquake. Just 4 points off of a major earthquake. And yet it might have been a major earthquake anyway. I have not checked the scientific data behind it, but this may have been a 7.0 major quake. May have been a 7.0 major quake. I haven't had the time to dissect the data on it yet. Let's move over here into the Atlantic Ocean here. This is important. This is very important. Over here in the North Mid-Atlantic here, this is a 4.8 moderate quake. 4.8 moderate quake over here in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge area. This seismic energy came from way down here in the South Sandwich Islands, just south and east of South America here. That's where it came from. It came up here and went over here to the Mid-Atlantic, came up here through the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and it ended up so far here in the North Mid-Atlantic. But that seismic energy is not going to stop. It's not going to stop. What do we have here? What do we have here off the coast of Portugal? This is a 5.5 earthquake. A 5.5 earthquake. Guess what, guys? This 5.5 also traveled the Mid-Atlantic Fault from way down south. It came over here to the Mid-Atlantic Fault here. And it came over here to the Azores Islands. Notice the Mid-Atlantic Fault connects with the Azores Island Fault here. And as a result, over here in the Azores region, I'm going to say it's the Azores region, guys. It's still in the Mid-Atlantic area, but it is in the Azores region. Yes, we have some tiny islands over here. This is a 5.5 earthquake here in the Atlantic Ocean off the Azores Ridge here. Off the Azores Ridge. It's an earthquake fault here. And there are islands here. The islands came here from volcanism. Yes, we've had some magma all throughout this area trying to make the volcanoes on the islands erupt again. So far, that has not happened. At least not now. It's happened in previous years, but not today. This is a seismic system earthquake. This is definitely a seismic system earthquake. Okay, just off the coast of Portugal here. A 5.5, very large earthquake. 5.5 to 5.9 are considered to be very large earthquakes. 5.0, 5.4 are large earthquakes. This is the 5.5. Okay, this is also 6.2 miles deep. Now, while that may seem very shallow, let me explain something about how the USGS and the other agencies come up with the 6.2 or the depth range at all. How do they do that? Sometimes they have seismographs all over this area. Sometimes they don't. But sometimes, if they don't know exactly, the USGS and the other agencies just throw a depth out there, whether or not it's true. They just throw a depth out there hoping beyond hope. That's all it is. But more than anything, they don't really care about you and I. They may say an earthquake is 6.2 miles deep. It might be deeper, slightly deeper than that. Okay? But this for now is a very shallow earthquake. Very shallow earthquake, 5.5 magnitude earthquake. Very large and very shallow. Okay? Let's go further north here. As you can see, the USGS is not saying anything about Iceland. We also have eruptions of the volcano here on Iceland today. Iceland is not without earthquakes, but the USGS is not showing them. Just briefly, let me take our webcam down for a minute. I want to show you where we're having earthquakes and why. Okay? Down here, this is called the Reykjanes Peninsula. Reykjanes Peninsula here. Okay? We have a town right here. It's called Grindavik. Grindavik has had earthquakes here, and it has had volcanoes on the outside of the town. They've had volcanoes on the outside. This is Grindavik right here. We've had volcanoes on the outside of the town, and in fact, the last time we had a volcanic eruption here last year, we had the eruption that came up just off the western side of Grindavik. The magma came out of the volcano here. Lava came out, and it burned down 3 homes here on the outskirts of Grindavik. Since then, we've had more outbursts of lava here as well, more eruptions here, and now the eruptions have continued, but they have continued far north from Grindavik. They've happened far north of Grindavik out here. So the present eruption, even though it was a kilometer wide, or 13 kilometer wide eruption here. No, it was a kilometer. Well, it was only a kilometer, about 1,000 feet wide. It was a great big huge fissure anyway. Now the amount of lava has subsided. The amount of lava has subsided, and in fact, it never came close to any dwellings. It did not come close to the Svartsengi power plant, and no one was in any kind of danger from this last eruption. We're now in the 9th day of this volcanic eruption here on Iceland. It has not affected anyone. It's far enough away from any cities or towns, far enough away from farms and everything, where they don't have to worry about it this time. Doesn't mean they won't have to worry about it in the future, because things could change. But, and this is a big but, okay? The Svartsengi power plant out here, right here. This is the Svartsengi power plant, and over here is the Blue Lagoon Spa. They in the past have been threatened by volcanic eruptions, lava overflowing the landmass here. And when they've had lava flowing, the authorities have built huge dikes, 65, 85, 95 feet high around the Svartsengi power plant and also the Blue Lagoon Spa here. They did the same thing around Grindavik to make sure that Grindavik would not burn down. So far, they have not lost any homes since the first loss. Earlier this year, there was an eruption. That eruption was just barely north of Greenvik, and they had lava that came down to Greenvik that came through the bottom of the dike. Lava came through the bottom of the dike, but they stopped it. Now they repaired the dike, so it's not likely to happen again. But so far, the eruptions have gotten further and further to the north, and they don't believe they're going to have any more problems here with these volcanic eruptions. Doesn't mean it won't change, but so far they don't believe it will. The magma is pushing through the bedrock here, the Reykjanes Peninsula, and it's going north. It's going north. It's creating its own volcanoes as it goes. Like I said, this present eruption that we've had this past week, past 9 days, it has left a crater and also a cone. It's left a crater and cone still active, still putting up fountains. But so far, no lava has made it down to any town or city or damaged any farms in this area of Iceland. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does anybody have any questions? Richard Smith has put up information about the geysers facility in Northern California, 100 miles north of um, San Francisco Bay. It's okay. It's okay. Those earthquakes there are microquakes and tremors. They're microquakes and tremors. Yes, they sometimes have a 3.0, sometimes they have a 3.9, 4.0 earthquake, but not often. Why do they have earthquakes over the geysers facility? It's in Sonoma County, California, number one. Number two, that area is full of drill points. Men who drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano that's just north of there. You see a lake? Let me back this out of Iceland here. Let's go over to Northern California here. That's Iceland. Just got through talking to you about that. Let's go down here to Northern California here. This is the geysers facility here. The lake that you see here is called Clear Lake. It's a volcano. The Clear Lake volcano. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano. Every time they drill into a volcano, anytime they drill into the earth, whether it's for oil and gas, like in Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas or anywhere else, or they drill into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to obtain steam from the volcano. Yes, steam. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. So when we have a magma pressure buildup at a volcano, it produces water vapor. Okay? They obtain the water vapor and it transfers them down to a transfer facility. They have pipes running along the roadways here. Let me see if I can get close enough and show you one of the facilities here. Okay, I got lucky here. I came right to it. This is one of the turbine facilities here. This is one of the turbine facilities. Now, I can't get any closer than this, but the roadways here from this turbine facility. They have plastic PVC piping running along the roadside of the roadways. This PVC plastic piping carries steam from the upper magma chambers of the volcano. They take this steam via those piping, all the pipes, they take it back to one of 81 different turbines. Yes, there's 81 different turbines in the geysers facility. They pipe it back here to the facility, and it spins turbines and generates electricity for Pacific Gas and Electric, California Edison, Rocky Mountain Power of Utah, and at least one other electrical conglomerate in California. So they generate electricity here at the geysers. 81 different turbines. That's how they do it. And as a result of those drill points, what do we know about drill points? Whenever they drill in for oil or gas or steam in this consideration here, anytime they do it, the seismic energy comes off the Pacific coast, in this case, comes off the Pacific Ocean because of the Pacific plate, comes here and generates earthquakes. It hits those holes, man-made holes in the earth, hits those holes, fractures rock inside the holes, causing earth movement. That's why we have earthquakes here in the geysers facility in Northern California. Now, they typically have anywhere from 15 to 35 earthquakes every day here in the geysers facility. 15 to 35 earthquakes in the geysers facility. Let's take a quick look at 3 of the red dots here. The red dots mean earthquakes have hit here within the last half hour. They stay red for about 45 minutes. This particular quake here is a 1.2 tremor. This one over to the west here, this is also 1.0 tremor. Down here further to the south of that one, this is a 0.8 microquake. Okay? All because they drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano. It's a drill point, and the seismic energy finds it and fractures rock here, causing the earth to move. That's what they do here. That's exactly what they do. Like I said, anywhere from 15, I don't think I've seen anything less than 15 earthquakes here in the time that I've been monitoring it. But I've seen at least 36 earthquakes at a time here at the geysers facility. Okay, that's what's happened here. Let's move over here to Cascadia. Actually, before we do that, let's go here to Alaska. I want to go up here to Alaska. Yes, we've had some earthquakes here in Alaska. Most of these are tremors. Minor earthquakes, 2.0 earthquakes, and tremors. That's about it. Down here in the southern Alaska Peninsula here, this is a 2.1 earthquake. Actually, 3.1 earthquake, excuse me. A small 3.1 earthquake here. This happens to be approximately let me check the depth on this. This is 35 miles deep. 3.1 earthquake here, 35 miles deep. This happens to be northeast of Cold Bay, Alaska. Northeast of Cold Bay, Alaska. We're still getting earthquakes out here off of Sandpoint, Alaska here. These are aftershocks. This is a 3.3 aftershock here, south of Sandpoint, Alaska here. Aftershocks. Aftershocks are going to continue here, hitting this region because we just got through having a major earthquake here. We just got through having a major earthquake here just a week ago. Okay, that's why we're still seeing aftershocks. Now, yes, there are tremors out here and microquakes south there, out here in the southern peninsula here, and also down here into the Aleutian Island Fault area. We're seeing some earthquakes here. We're here in Atka, Alaska. This is a 2.4 earthquake here. Over here, in mainland Alaska, all we see here are minor tremors and 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes here. All over central Alaska here. literally, literally. Now, we don't have any earthquakes up north here along the Arctic Circle. We have no earthquakes up here north of the Arctic Circle here at all today. Okay? Now, as I started talking about the Pacific Northwest, okay, let's go over here. We don't have anything really memorable to talk about here in the Pacific Northwest. However, Mount Rainier is still showing signs of a possible eruption. Mount Rainier is still showing signs of possible eruption, but look what they're not showing us. Look what they're not showing us. Up here to the north. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. This is near Echo Lake. This is near Echo Lake in Washington State. This is a 2.0 earthquake. Further south here, again, Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier. However, they're not showing us much of anything here at all. At all. They don't want to be honest about what's going on here. They keep telling us, oh, it's only tremors. It's only tremors and microquakes. You don't have anything to worry about. The problem is this. They refuse to talk about other earthquakes. They say, oh, everything's about ground normal. Everything's green. It's normal. No, it's not. Constant 3.0 and larger earthquakes is not normal. It's not beyond background. I'm sorry, it's not. It's above that. But again, the agency doesn't want to tell you about it. Agency doesn't want to talk about themselves. I don't care. Because I believe Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier are getting ready to erupt, and USGS refuses to issue an advisory. When people get killed here or injured, then USGS is going to have something to say. And they're going to say, oh, we've been talking about, but we haven't been showing much of any detail because there hasn't been. I'm here to tell you, yes, there are earthquakes here, but USGS is in denial. They don't want anyone to realize exactly what's going on. There are things going on. We have some red earthquakes here. This, again, only means that these earthquakes have hit here within the last 30, 45 minutes. Okay? This earthquake is a 0.4 microquake. There are tons of microquakes. Why are they not showing all the microquakes here? Why not? Probably close to 100, 150 microquakes here. They're not showing them. That's a 0.4. Right here, this other red one, this is a 0.4 as well. How about these others? That is a 0.6. This is a 0.8. These are down inside the volcano. This is lava, not lava. Lava is coming out of the volcano. This is magma inside the volcano. Okay? This happens to be 1.3 miles deep. 1.3 miles deep here. But again, they're not showing all the other earthquakes here. There are minor earthquakes and there are regular 3.0 plus size earthquakes. Okay, they are having earthquakes here at this volcano. Never forget Mount Rainier. Never ever forget. Mount Rainier is supposed to be erupting very soon. All the things point to it. Everything that's going on that the seismograms tell you is actually happening. Now, I've been in arguments recently. Where someone has told me, oh, USGS says this is nothing but normal background. No, it's not. It's not. Normal background would be microquakes, but they're not showing the large earthquakes here. They're not background. They're not showing us at all because they don't want us to see what's actually happening. Okay? Earthquakes are still happening here at Mount Rainier. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Further south, we have earthquakes down here at Mount St. Helens. But again, they're not showing anything like that. That's fine. Except when it happens, I'm going to crawl all over this negligent agency. I will become their worst enemy. Enemy number one. Because they are not telling the truth at all. Okay? Again, I'm going to tell this story again and again because I want people to have this story sink into their brains, their minds. About a week before Mount St. Helens last erupted, we had a massive amount of tremors and minor earthquakes. Massive amount. All of a sudden, things slowed down. Things slowed down, and the agency said, oh, Mount St. Helens is not going to erupt. Guess what? They lifted the yellow color advisory, the yellow cautionary advisory that they had put out. They lifted it. And 2 days later, because people moved back into the Mount St. Helens area, 57 people got killed because of USGS negligence. And yet because they have their plausible deniability, oh, we didn't think it was going to happen. It did. That's because they are refusing to take a look at the seismograms and the truth of those seismograms. The seismograms are graphs put out by the computer. There's a reason it happens that way. But again, the agency doesn't want to tell us about it. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. But there is activity here in the Pacific Northwest, and the agency doesn't want to talk about it. You don't see anything there except at Mount St. Helens. Minor microquakes. Microquakes. Sad. Very sad. Okay. One additional earthquake down here, and this is 14 miles east-northeast of Ashford, Washington. Go figure. Go figure. That's it in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, we've had some bigger earthquakes. They're not major, this is just bigger. Okay, down here off of the San Andreas here. Right here. This is just barely off the coast of Northern California. This is a 1.5 tremor. Out here to the southwest here. This is a 2.4 earthquake, a 2.4 minor earthquake. Okay, this is 12 miles south-southeast of Petrolia, California. This other earthquake over here on the San Andreas Fault, this is the 1.5 tremor here, and it's just off the coast of Petrolia, California, on the San Andreas Fault. Okay, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Further south here, again, this is the geysers facility we talked about. Okay. Further south here is the San Francisco Bay Area. They're not showing anything here, but there are earthquakes and tremors here today. Okay. Further down here, the only earthquake that they're showing here, this is so sad, just north of Santa Barbara here. This is a 2.4 earthquake here north of Santa Barbara. 8 miles north of Goleta, California. Okay. Yes, we have earthquakes here in LA. We have earthquakes down here in Southern California and over here in Baja, California here. We have earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes. This is a 2.6 minor earthquake here. Tapia, Baja, California. I've been in Tapia. I took Boy Scouts from Poway, California, not Poway, sorry, Vista, California. I took my Boy Scouts here, down here to Tapia, Baja, California. There was a huge Boy Scout camporee here. People from all over the world came here. That's why we did. My scout troop was at what they called an adventuring explorer post. They didn't like to go to camporees because they'd rather be out on the mountains exploring. Okay? That is in Baja California, south of San Diego. One other earthquake here is also 2.4 here. This is east-northeast of Ensenada. This is 27 miles east-northeast of Ensenada, California, Baja California. Okay? That's what's going on here. Do we have any questions? Richard Smith is reporting a 1.2 tremor here near Cobb, California. That's part of the geysers complex. That is part of the geysers complex here. Jimmy Wilk is saying, where are those huge earthquakes going to hit? Now, I'm not reporting any huge earthquakes, but I'm saying they're going to hit. I'm telling you, they're going to hit. Last night or yesterday afternoon when I came on the air before I took Carol to the airport, I explained right up here. This is called Queen Charlotte Island here. This is called Queen Charlotte Island, and now they basically renamed Haida Gwaii. Haida Gwaii. The scientists found that the earthquake fault just off the coast of Haida Gwaii was a major fault, a major earthquake fault. But it's not just that. This fault is just as dangerous as Cascadia. The Haida Gwaii fault is just as dangerous as Cascadia. I explained that. I explained it very thoroughly. The problem is, guys, this fault right here off the west coast of Haida Gwaii, just like Cascadia. Totally like it. Now, I'm going to put up my webcam so you can see it. I want to explain it. Cascadia is not a slip fall or side slip fault like this, like the San Andreas is. It has a drop point. One part of the fault is going to drop like this, whether it's the closest one to the island or out a little bit further in the ocean. The land is going to drop like this. Major earthquake. And then we're going to have ocean water running away from the shoreline to fill the void where that ground fell down at the seabed. The seabed part is going to fall. Ocean water is going to run away from shore and go to fill that void. What happens then? Tsunami. Because this fault is so close to the shoreline, the tsunami is expected to be at least 90 feet high. 90 feet high, 30 meters high. That means that Haida Gwaii here, the residents on Haida Gwaii are not going to have time to even get out of the way. They're going to have very little time to get out of the way at all. And as a result, people are going to die. People are going to die either from the earthquake shaking or the tsunami coming in afterwards. Yes, they're expecting a 7.0 to 7.5 earthquake hit here. A 7.0, 7.5 earthquake hit here in Haida Gwaii. Okay, it's going to happen. But again, the fault is just exactly like the Cascadia. Just totally like the Cascadia. That's going to be at least a 7.0, 7.5 earthquake. But what's going to happen down here? Actually, it's going to be 7.85. 7.85 earthquake here off the coast of Haida Gwaii. Major earthquake. Down here, just off the coast of Seattle and Tacoma area, out here is going to be a 10.0. 10.0. The Haida Gwaii quake is going to be felt all the way into Alaska, but so is this one. The seismic energy is going to flow north along the fault lines. It's going to go up to Alaska as well. But it's going to devastate everything here along the southwest side of British Columbia, Canada. It's going to devastate it. And even the Cascadia quake is going to also be felt in Alaska. Okay? That's going to happen. Promise you it's going to happen. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Yes, this is important. It's very important. Hurricane Heather is saying, can anybody explain the yellow alert? The yellow alert are put up as cautionary alert status. They're put up as cautionary alert status. They did that before Mount St. Helens erupted, and then they took it down. Oh, things slowed down, but then they took it down, and all of a sudden the volcano erupted. Yellow is a cautionary signal that there's a bigger quake or a bigger eruption going to happen. Any questions? Heather, where did you see the yellow alert? Surgery says on volcano discovery, those mountains show dormant. Again, volcano discovery is not always right either. They take their information primarily from the USGS, which lies. They're all a bunch of liars. They're all a bunch of liars. Okay, and Pickering is saying, why are they giving California and the Pacific Northwest red alerts? The Pacific Northwest red alert is because of the real possibility of Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens erupting. That's why that. California, it's a San Andreas fault. California and the Pacific Northwest have been issued red alerts. The Pacific Northwest because of Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens, and down in Southern California, it is the fact that the San Andreas fault is going to pop. It could pop almost immediately. It could be hours, it could be days, it could be months, but it's going to pop. Pop in a big way. There's going to be complete devastation in Southern California. Promise. Promise. Those of you that have seen Riverside, those of you that know what Riverside, California is, east of LA, you see a very quiet community out there in the desert of California. Probably close to 1 million people out there in Riverside. When the San Andreas fault goes, Riverside will be devastated. You won't know Riverside by what it's going to look like after the earthquake hits. It's going to be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed. And the reason they're not talking about it is because they don't want anybody to know what's going on. That's what's so sad. They don't want anybody to know what's going on. Down here in southern Washington here, again, this is a red earthquake here. A 0.4 microquake here. This just happened here at Mount Rainier. That's a 0.4. This is a 0.4. And this is a 0.4 microquakes. These are quarter mile deep. Quarter mile deep. Now, guys, when we have earthquakes at quarter mile deep, that is just barely below the great big huge rock that's at the top of the volcano. The great big huge plug of the volcano here, and we have tremors and earthquakes right beneath it. Quarter mile deep. To me, it's fascinating. To people living there, you're going to have to be worried sick, that your lives will be disrupted and your homes will be destroyed. This is a 2.0 earthquake here near Echo Lake, northeast of Seattle. 2.0 earthquake north of Seattle right there. Minor earthquake. That's 18 kilometers deep, or 18 miles deep. But again, the San Andreas Fault here in Southern California is getting ready to pop. We talked about that red alert going off here in Southern California because of the San Andreas Fault. It's going to pop. Hurricane Heather says, Linda, where did he say it? I said it was on the San Andreas Fault here. On the San Andreas Fault here. Up here northeast of San Andreas, Big Bear City, 1.5 tremor just happened. It was red. Down here to the south in Borrego Springs, northeast San Diego County, the Anza-Borrego Desert area, this is a 0.8 microquake here. They're not talking about hardly anything at all going on down here in Southern California. Most of the stuff they're talking about here is either on the Elsinore Fault or it's a San Jacinto Fault. That's what they're talking about. They're not even giving the facts of the matter that the San Andreas Fault is about to pop. Jamie Wilkes is asking, will tsunamis happen? Because of San Andreas, no. The San Andreas is further out to the east. There will be no tsunamis there, but there will be mighty shaking. Mighty shaking. Even though this is east of San Diego County and southeast of Los Angeles, the San Andreas Fault will activate the ancillary quake fault zones. Okay? The San Andreas Fault will activate the other faults here in the greater Los Angeles area. As a result, this whole place will go. This whole place will be shaken and probably destroyed. Probably destroyed. We are expecting anywhere from a 6.5 to a 7.8 earthquake here. A 6.5 to a 7.8 earthquake in this area. It's going to be very, very bad shaking. It's going to be very shallow as well. It's about to happen. It's about to happen. But folks, there's something even more that I need to talk to you about tonight before we talk about preparedness. Let's go up here in northern Canada to the Yukon. To the Yukon, boys. Let's go over here to the Yukon. Right up here. I think you guys need to know what's happening here. Okay? What's happening here, guys? We have a major earthquake fault here. It's called the Tintina, Tintina, Tintina earthquake fault up here in the Yukon. Guess what? Going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal. Experts have just found out and are now warning of a major earthquake fault. They're warning of a hidden earthquake threat beneath North America, up here in the Northern Territories. This earthquake could strike at any moment. This earthquake here in the Northern Territories of Canada could strike at any moment, and it will be felt all over the Canadian West. Okay? This is previously thought to be quiet, a very quiet fault line. Okay? Now it is feared to be a ticking time bomb. Experts are warning that it could unleash a devastating earthquake here with no warning and will shake parts of the United States. Canadian scientists have discovered that the Tintina Fault, located just 12 miles from Dawson City, Yukon, has been silently building up underground pressure and may be on the verge of erupting into a massive earthquake. It may be on the verge of erupting to massive earthquake. Everybody up in this area should be concerned. Yes, we have people living up here in the Yukon Territory. We also have people living over here to the west in Alaska, including the Denali Fault Zone, the Denali Park Fault Zone here. Let me take down the U.S. map, and I want to show you some pictures now. This is where the Tintina Fault is, in the Denali Territories. Let's talk about it. Okay? Like I said, it's been building up pressure over the years, and scientists ignored it until now. Why now? because we've actually seen earthquakes and a bunch of tremors here. Large earthquakes and a bunch of tremors. Okay? The fault here runs beneath highways, rivers, and critical infrastructure here. It stretches into the interior of Alaska, raising fears that it could send tremors into British Columbia, Alberta, and Montana and Alaska. Dr. Michael West, WEST, he's a state seismologist in Alaska at the Alaska Earthquake Center. He said that this new study indicates that it's been pretty quietly building over time, but it's building towards a potentially very large 6.5 to 7.5 or even larger earthquake. From 7.5 or a large earthquake here. It is one of the least studied fault systems in North America, but that needs to change. One section alone is approximately 81 miles long. And that section could generate a magnitude 7.5 earthquake or greater. Could generate a magnitude 7.5 earthquake or larger, strong enough to shatter roads, destroy pipelines, and trigger landslides both in Canada, Alaska, Montana, in the northwest of the United States, and Canada. Researchers have warned the consequences could be devastating if this fault breaks, especially since the Tintina fault has been largely overlooked compared to more famous faults, such as the Cascadia or the San Andreas. For those of you that studied and that I've been watching this program, you know that the San Andreas fault extends over 750 miles, closer to 900 miles throughout California. 900 miles throughout California. A very dangerous fault. Now, they say this Tintina fault could break along more than 109 miles, causing strong earthquakes in northern U.S. communities. Let me show you this next slide here. Right here. Like I said, it's going to break highways, it's going to break bridges, it's going to break everything in its path. The potential earthquake could affect 125,000 people, including Alaska Fairbanks North State Borough, potentially affecting at least 125,000 people. The potential earthquake could significantly affect critical infrastructure, like the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, particularly for those living in the remote areas with limited earthquake preparedness or emergency response whatsoever. Emergency response here in this area is very limited because the miles between different places in Alaska that law enforcement officers and fire department people have to travel. First responders are very limited here. Dr. Theron Finley was a recent PhD graduate from the University of Victoria, and he's the lead author of this study. He said the fault may be in a late stage of seismic activity. It may be already in a late stage of seismic cycles. It's quietly built up around 20 inches of slip. 20 inches of slip that could be released in a single catastrophic manner. This fault has been hiding in plain sight. It was first discovered in 1912. Mr. Tyrrell, who found it in 2012, I'm sorry, not 2012, 1912. He discovered it and documented its existence in the Yukon Territory. But based on geological surveys now, this fault could give up everything. Now, Tyrrell and the other scientists have looked at it suspiciously over time. But now, it's gotten to be the point to the earthquake fault is slipping in a major manner. And they're expecting a major earthquake along this area. Okay? The scientists have stated it's been suspiciously silent, but it hasn't been. It's just been moving very quietly, not causing problems. But scientists now say it is a mature, slow-moving fault, the kind that stays quiet for thousands of years before suddenly unleashing a powerful fury of earthquakes. The most dangerous thing about this is not just that the fault is active, but no one's been paying attention to it at all. The study was first published in the Geophysical Research Letters that have been found as parts of ancient glacial landforms that have shifted sideways by nearly 3,200 feet. Think of that. Mountainsides shifting by more than 3,200 feet. And yet scientists refuse to recognize it till now. This provides clear evidence of powerful past earthquakes. 3,200-foot slip. This is clear evidence of powerful past earthquakes in this region. Researchers used satellite and drone mapping tools, which uncovered scars in the landscape perimeter. The scars show that this fault has ripped open Earth's surface multiple times within the last major rupture more than 12,000 years ago. It's due to go now. That's what scientists are fearing. It's due to go now. They say the study says it could go at any moment. Geological evidence shows that the land has not shifted in a long time, a sign that the fault has stayed locked and is steadily building pressure. The quiet period that may actually be causing the problem. We're not good at thinking about things that happened 12,000 years ago. But over that time, this particular fault especially builds up motion. Enough motion to create a 7.5 or larger earthquake here. Scientists, like I said, are now concerned at the U.S. Geological Survey's recent 2024 Alaska model, a modern earthquake hazard map that does not treat the Tintina fault at all. They don't treat the Tintina fault as a major risk, but it is. And now they're coming out talking about it. Now, I want to spend the rest of the time together tonight talking about what's going on with our preparedness attitude. I want to talk tonight about our preparedness attitude. How many of us are prepared? How many of us have preparedness kits? How many of us have gone to the extent that we not just have preparedness kits, but we have an emergency plan that we've written? How many of us have plans that are written down? How many of us have emergency preparedness kits? Sergey is asking, do we have any nuclear plants on the West Coast? Oh, yes. Yeah, we do. We have the Hanford plant in northwestern Washington. Hanford in northwestern Washington, south of the Canadian border. We have a power plant in Oregon. We have power plants all over California from the north to the south. All over. We have a couple decommissioned plants that are still radioactive. Those nuclear power plants, whether they're active or not, are still radiological. They can pose a radiological disaster in a heartbeat. All we have to do is have an earthquake that damages any part of that power plant, and then we have a problem. Yes, they may have removed the radioactive material, the radioactive rods, but that does not mean that the plant is still not radioactive. It is. It is. Surgery is saying this is something else that you need to take into heart, to ponder when you're preparing an emergency plan. Holly, are you okay? Holly, are you okay? Holly? For those of you that may or may not know, we have two mature chihuahuas, 16, 17 years old. If you multiply that times 7, these dogs are over 108 years old. Unreal. And they have some health problems now. The health problems cannot be dealt with by surgery or anything else. They're just elderly dogs. Yet we're trying to take care of them the best way we know possible. That's what we're doing. Anyway, how many of you have preparedness plans? I dare say that probably not even 25% of you have plans. How many of you have plans? How many of you have an emergency preparedness kit? Linda Covington is in Virginia. She says they have a nuclear plant. They sure do. I believe you have 2 or 3 plants in Virginia. We have a couple here in North Carolina as well. And yet we are seeing earthquakes here. They will affect those nuclear plants. I promise you that. They will affect the nuclear plants. Let's talk a bit about emergency preparedness planning. I've wanted to talk again about this for quite some time. Tonight, we're going to talk about emergency planning. Now, I know for a fact that we want to be prepared for any disaster. That's part of the status with this program. It's part of our issue with this program, with what we're talking about here on Emergency Management Associates. We don't have problems, but we could. We want to talk about major disasters. We talk about them all the time, not just earthquakes, not just nuclear disasters, not just train wrecks. We've all covered these. We've covered plant explosions. We've covered plant explosions at oil and gas refineries. We've seen derailments of trains that carrying dangerous chemicals. We talked about shootings. That's a man-made disaster, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Folks, we want to be covered by a plan. If you don't have a plan, you don't have much of anything, because when you have an emergency where you're at, doesn't matter whether it's a natural emergency, such as a storm, hurricane, major rain, flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes are coming. Hurricanes are coming, guys. Promise you. We're going to see some hurricanes within the next couple of weeks. Things are happening. We've seen tornadoes. We've seen hurricanes in the time that we've been here on this program, 6.5 years. We've seen major winter storms. We've seen major rain. We've seen major flooding, and we've seen fires. Fires even recently. We need to know what to do in the event of a disaster. And we need to know what step to take before the disaster ever strikes. We need to know what steps it takes before a disaster strikes. Why? To give us assurance that we'll have less of a loss than we would have had normally. Loss of life, loss of property. We need to have a preparedness plan to plan for that. Now, there are some very easy but important things you can do to be prepared. One of the most important things you can do before a storm strikes, before any kind of emergency happens, is to make a home inventory. We've talked about home inventories before, but I want to emphasize that now. Take a picture of everything inside your home. Take a picture of everything inside your home. Why? Because after a disaster, it'll be too late. If you have insurance, the insurance companies are going to require you to show proof of what you had as a loss of property. You have to show proof. If you don't have pictures, you can say, well, I had a gun. I had a really expensive refrigerator. I had a freezer. I had beds. I had jewelry. I had expensive rock collection, whatever. If you don't have pictures, it doesn't exist. Okay? So something I'm going to encourage you to do tonight, write these things down. Take a note of everything we're talking about here. Arlen Schmidt is here. Arlen Schmidt's over in Canada. We appreciate him being here. Talk to your insurance agent. Most of you have insurance agents. You have insurance agents for your cars. You have insurance agents responsible for your homeowner's insurance as well, or your renter's insurance. Talk to your agent to make sure you have the right coverage for your home. For example, if homeowners' policies do not cover floods, and if you live in a certain area of your state, you may need to have a separate wind and hail policy as well. Wind and hail, with thunk. Now, it's also important to protect your property before an emergency or a disaster strikes. Sometimes it is not just a storm that will directly cause damage to your home, but your possessions that are not secured in your yards. Lastly, having a plan in place and knowing how you will respond to a storm can make a big impact. How you respond to your storm will have a big impact in your life. Collect and review the documents for your insurance. Collect and review important documents you have. Gather the important paperwork, including insurance policies, medical records, prescription medicine, over-the-counter medicine. Bring copies with you if you have to evacuate your home. Bring copies with you if you have to evacuate your home. Don't just try to grab them at the last minute before you walk out the door. You're going to forget things. You may even forget your head if it wasn't screwed on. I say that very facetiously. However, when there is an emergency confronting any of us, we're going to be so wrapped up in trying to take care of ourselves that we're going to forget important things, including documents. Know exactly what you have had in your home. Know exactly what you have had in your home. Bring your paperwork. Bring your health insurance as well. Bring all of it. Keep all of that in files in your home, but keep copies of it in zip-proof packages, in Ziploc plastic packages. That way you have copies of everything and you have those copies with you after a disaster strikes. Know exactly what your insurance policy does and does not cover. Remember this, no homeowner's policy covers flooding. No homeowners policies will cover flooding. They used to, they don't anymore. The only way to protect your property from flood losses is to purchase specific flood insurance from the National Flood Insurance Program. The National Flood Insurance Program. The policies from the National Flood Insurance Program must be in place for 30 days before the coverage takes place. That program must be in place at least 30 days before a disaster, because that coverage does not cover anything prior to that. Contact your insurance agent for more information. Further, some policies here in North California's coast, I used to live there. I used to live in California. Some policies along North Carolina's coast may not cover wind damage. Check with your insurance agent. Put together a toolkit. Hurricane Heather's missing New Jersey and Maryland. They've had floods recently, remember? New Jersey's also had some earthquakes recently. There's another earthquake swarm in New Jersey. It started over a year ago. They had a 5.1 earthquake that USGS denied. Then they all said, oh yeah, we had it. We're sorry. We forgot. Now New Jersey's having earthquakes again. Swarms of earthquakes. Put together a toolkit, guys. Use a waterproof portable bag or container to store your items that are needed during a disaster. In case there is no electricity or water at your residence, this kit should be easy to assemble if officials call for an evacuation. The toolkit should include such things that we're talking about: an emergency preparedness kit, kids. An emergency preparedness kit. Your kit should include such things as a battery-operated weather radio, like a NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration radio, like I showed you here before. Should include flashlights, battery-operated flashlights. Take extra batteries as well. A portable power source for cell phones. Like the one I'm showing you right here. Folks, this is a solar panel. Right here is a way to charge your phones here. This is always ready to go. I keep it in the sun, keep it fully charged, so in case there's a power outage, we're not able to do anything. We want to still have communications, possibly like text messaging. If the cell towers are down, you might get through a text message instead. You may not be able to talk, but at least you get a text message through instead. Have a portable power source for cell phones. Over-the-counter medications, prescription medications, and first aid kits as well. If severe weather is predicted, keep prescription medicines in a Ziploc bag, ready to go in the event of an evacuation, and have on hand enough non-perishable food items. And water to last at least 3 days to a week. At least. Here we have at least 4 to 6 months worth of food here, as well as our freeze-dried food too. You can make your food last longer as well. You don't have to eat large portions of food. Cut down those portions to manageable portions. Linda Covington says she loves Ziploc bags. I do too. Plan for the personal needs of your family. Plan for the personal needs of all family members, including senior citizens, those with special needs, children and pets. Remember, boredom sets in quickly when there's no electricity. Have games for your children, play toys for your children, and also pets. Don't forget your food for your pets. Don't forget your pets and children's favorite blankies or their favorite toys. Take those with you. With your dogs or cats or other pets, remember their identification and their medical needs as well. If your dogs or any other animals have been to the doctor, Keep all that information with you. Keep all of it with you and take it with you when you leave. But remember, our children and our dogs, cats, and other animals need to have playtime with us. And yes, they feel our stress. So remember this. They have stress, we have stress, and if they have worse stress, guess what? Our stress will get a lot worse. Now, I've talked about the next thing. I'm going to say it again. Have emergency cash on hand. Have emergency cash on hand. Put it in a Ziploc storage container. Put it in a Ziploc storage container. We have a stash of cash here in our emergency kit here. I'm not going to show it, but I'm telling you this. We've socked away an emergency stash of cash. Put together a go bag. Put together an emergency go bag. In the event of an evacuation notice or a storm or a disaster of any kind, in the event of an evacuation notice given, a secondary emergency kit could be ready ahead of time. Ahead of time. Have it there. Pack a duffel bag or a backpack with blankets, pillows, games, or other personal items that would be necessary to bring to a shelter with you if the evacuation notice is given or when it is given. Pack a duffel bag of blankets, pillows, games, and other personal items that would be necessary for staying in a shelter or other public place. Plan your escape. Plan your escape. We've talked about having at least 2 to 3 escape routes. At least 2 to 3 escape routes. Never travel on a freeway. Try to stay away from freeways or highways. Why? Because the police or National Guard could put up a huge gangway there. They may put up a roadblock that you may not be able to pass. They may want to know where you're going and where you're coming from. They may want to know why you're wearing fatigues, military fatigues. Please do not look like you're a military member or slated to go out into the wilderness yourself. Look nonchalant. Look as if you just have a regular shirt and a pair of pants. Don't look like you're going to war. Have an escape route. 2 to 3 different routes you're going to take out of Dodge. And when you're having a route, you're also going to want to have a place to go. So have at least 2 to 3 places to go as well. 2 to 3 places to go as well. 2 to 3 routes to get there. If one place is full up, you'll be able to go the other. I have gone to the extent of notifying the place we want to go ahead of time. I pay them so much a month, like $10 a month, to keep my space open in the event of an emergency. So my space is actually on hold every day. Every day. I have 3 routes to get there. In the event of a tornado or a hurricane, that place is the interior part of your building. Your getaway place is the interior part of your building. Stay away from windows or in the basement. Stay away from windows or the basement in the event of a hurricane. Basements get flooded with water and you'll be in trouble. But stay in the interior part of your home. Okay? In case of flooding, you would need to get as high up in your home or apartment as you can to escape rising water. In the case of a wildfire, now I have a dear friend of mine that's here with us today in the chat. He has a lot to say about wildfires. He used to fight fires himself. I used to fight fires. In the case of a wildfire, you would need to seek a place where outside air is sealed off, or outside smoke-filled air is sealed off. In each situation, be ready to evacuate when officials give you the notice. Don't wait. Do not wait till they give the notice, but get out ahead of time. Leave ahead of time. If you think there's going to be an evacuation notice given, get out ahead of time. Get your emergency kit, get all your belongings, your children and your pets, and get out immediately. Okay? It's important to include your disaster plan as a means to contact one another. Make sure each family member has a copy of your disaster plan. They know what's going on. Again, I want to emphasize to make sure you review your insurance policies, your life and health insurance, your car insurance, your home or renter's insurance. Property owners should consider whether to insure their property for either replacement costs or actual value costs, because there is a difference. And insurance companies don't always give you what you have as a want. They only give you what they want to give you. They only give you what they want to give you. You should consider whether you want to insure your property for the replacement cost of the valuables in your home or the actual cost, the actual value. Replacement cost is the amount it would take to rebuild your home or to repair damages with materials of the same kind and the same quality without deducting for depreciation. Depreciation is a decrease in home value. Depreciation is a decrease in home value, property value, since the home was first built. The insurance company will never give you that money. The actual cost value is the amount it would take to repair the damage. Actual cash value is the amount it would take to repair the damage to your home after the depreciation. Most standard homeowners policies cover the contents of your home on an actual cash value basis. Many insurers offer an option for you to insure your property at replacement cost. The premium may be slightly higher for the coverage. However, you may want to consider it. Make sure you have the appropriate insurance to cover your needs, and keep your insurance policies accessible and secure. Depending on your insurance company's underwriting and your location, you may need a separate windstorm and hail policy. You may have to have a separate windstorm and hail policy. Not all policies cover windstorm or hail damage. You may have to have a separate policy for that. It is excluded from your primary homeowner's policy. Talk with your agent again. Talk with your agent to make sure you're covered. Renter's insurance. Renters should consider purchasing coverage for their personal property through renter's insurance. Without it, in the event of a disaster, you would have no place to turn to recoup your losses. Renter's insurance covers only the contents of the rented shelter, the rented home, the rented apartment. Consider this. How about college student insurance? College students can often purchase dorm room insurance as well. Before sending your son or daughter off to college, check your homeowner's policy to determine whether or not dorm coverage is needed. As some family homeowners policies will cover losses from dorm rooms, but not all do. People living in Outer Banks. What are the Outer Banks? Islands offshore from the mainland. Outer Bank property owners may be eligible to purchase property protection under a program called Coastal Property Insurance Pool. Coastal Property Insurance Pool, formerly known as the Beach Plan. The CPIP offers coverage for fire, lightning, theft, wind, and hail. They offer coverage most of the time for fire, lightning, theft, wind, and hail. For more information, contact your insurance agent, or you may call CPIP directly at 1-800-662-7048. Contact CPIP at 1-800-662-7048. Similar coverage can be purchased for those living anywhere but the Outer Banks under the FAIR program, the FAIR program. These two plans ensure that property owners can get insurance coverage. If you would like more information on these insurance plans, call 1-800-662-7048 or ask your insurance agent. Know exactly what your policies do and do not cover. I'm going to repeat that. Know exactly what your policies do or do not cover. You'll be amazed. Standard homeowners policies do not cover flood damage. Standard homeowners insurance policies do not cover flood damage. Sometimes you cannot buy flood damage policies. In some coastal areas, windstorm and hail coverage are also excluded from the standard policy. The only way to protect your property from flood losses is to purchase flood insurance from the National Insurance Program. The National Flood Insurance Program. Policies, again, must be in place for at least 30 days before the coverage takes effect. Next, complete a home inventory. Take pictures. Write names of things down, the property you have in your home. Take pictures of it. Document it for the purpose of a home inventory. That is a document that you own to help the insurance company evaluate your losses. That is the only way you're going to get anything from your property. Go from room to room, write down, and take pictures or video of the brand name and description of the property, along with the estimated value of your belongings. If you can remember what you bought them for, document it. Receipts. Take pictures of the receipts as well. If you see serial numbers on your item, document and photograph the serial numbers. Compile any receipts you have from your purchases and photograph those receipts. Remember, go to your closets, storage places, and your garage to document all of these items. Upload or scan documents to your computer or the cloud, or have a memory stick. Have a memory stick like this. And date the file. Date the file. If you prefer to use a mobile app, research these on your phone's app store. Store your home inventory in a safe, easily accessible in a place online, or on your computer, or in a safety deposit box. Consider sharing a copy with friends or relatives. That way the information's there and available for you. For your convenience, you can use this interactive inventory chart that I'm going to put up in the next couple days. I have an interactive inventory chart and a calculator at the bottom of this program. I'm going to put this out available for all of you within the next couple days. Document all your possessions. Document all your possessions. Write the name of the possession and the cost of it. Take a picture of it. Otherwise, you're not likely to get compensated for it. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Protect your property. If you think a storm may be approaching, cover your windows with storm shutters or siding or plywood. Cover your windows with storm shutters, siding, or plywood. Move your vehicles into garages when possible, or park them near your home away from trees. Last time we had a hurricane, we had a bunch of vehicles destroyed by trees. My own insurance agent put the word out before the hurricane moved in. Move your grills, your patio furniture, potted plants into the house or garage. Loose items in your yard can become missiles, as we talked about. So tie those items down or put them in your home or your garage. Okay? Tie them down or anything that you can do to bring them in your house or to protect your property. Clear debris from your gutters and downspouts. Anchor any fuel tanks. Move furniture and valuables and important documents to a safe place before the storm. Do we have any questions about this? Do we have any questions? Everything we talked about today, I have on documents stored on my computer. Now you have it here live on YouTube. If you ever see a program in our EMA history here on YouTube, if it says preparedness, go there and take a look at that program. We have valuable information that I have stored in my database that I share with you because I'm trying to help protect you. I'm trying to help protect you. Okay? Do we have any questions? There are no bad questions, by the way. There are no bad questions. Honest Stream says, thank you. I appreciate that. I've taken a lot of time and effort putting these things together, and I am taking the information to heart and writing a book. Yes, I'm going to be writing a book very shortly. Actually, the book is going to be published probably within the next year or so. Your questions are important, as Don put up here in the chat. They're very important. Thank you, Charlene, for that. Now, guys, if you haven't already done so, please give us a thumbs up. That would mean the world to me. Thumbs up is just one way to show YouTube that you appreciate the information we provided for you. So please do that. It's important. Also, the amount of time you're seen watching the program, that is also documented with YouTube. They use that documentation, they use those analytical factors to determine whether they're going to allow anybody here on YouTube to watch this program. We talk about emergency information for a reason, to help prepare people for any kind of disasters and to save people's lives. That's why we talk about it. That's why we talk about it. Also, folks, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. YouTube keeps unsubscribing people all the time. If you are already subscribed, check and make sure you're still subscribed. Don, for example, or Maud here. Most of you know and love Don as I do. He's a very dear friend of mine. He's also been unsubscribed so many times from this program. Now, this program is mine, and I've been unsubscribed. Go figure. YouTube does that. So make sure you still subscribe to this program. And when you subscribe to this program, there's something else. There is a little bell icon like that. A little bell icon. Check that icon. When you check that icon, you'll also have to look at a couple other things. There'll be a drop-down menu of 3 items. There will be a drop-down menu that will come up with 3 items. Click on the word ALL. 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 Click on all. That way you'll at least be notified when we come on the air. But be advised, YouTube does not always notify you. That's sad. I'm telling you now, we come on the air between 4 and 6 p.m. every day. Closer to 4. Today was just after 4 o'clock Eastern time. sometime after 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we come on the air. Now, if and when something happens, whether it's in the middle of the night or the first part of the morning, as soon as something happens, we will be coming on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. We do that. That's because we want to make sure you have the information. Okay? Otherwise, we will be on air the next day after 4 o'clock. Saturdays, we try to take it off. Yes, I have been known to be on the air on Saturdays. I try to take Saturdays off to regroup and de-stress. But if something happens on a Saturday, we will be coming back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. On Sundays, we've been known to come on the air as well. Sunday afternoon, about 12:30 in the afternoon, we come on the air with Come Follow Me, the Savior Says, a religious-based Sunday school program. We like to talk about Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ. He's the Son of God. He is our Savior and Redeemer. He's our King. He is the light and life of the world. Not just scripturally, but in my mind and heart, I know him to be the light and life of the world. He died for our sins, thus giving us an opportunity to live on after this life is over and go into heaven and receive judgment in our favor. If something we've done has been repented from, it is remember no more. And we can go on and live after this life and be happy and to be together as family members. To be together as family members. Folks, I love you. I love you as my own family members. I do. There's nothing greater that I would want is to have each of you together with me on the other side. The veil separating us from heaven is very thin. Very thin. I've shared special things throughout the time I've been on the air here the last 6.5 years with you. Special things have happened to me. Things involving my family members on the other side. Folks, it happens. If we are spiritual enough, if we are close to our Heavenly Father, if we pray, we're close to our family members after they pass on. They'll help us do what we need to do here on this earth. They're allowed to do that from our Heavenly Father. I bear you my testimony, I know this is true. I've actually had this happen in my own life. I love you. I love you. I know that for some of you that doesn't mean anything. But I want to tell you this. I care. I care. Also, if you want to help support this program, on the bottom of your screen, just below this video, at the bottom of this video, you see our PayPal and Venmo addresses here. I think it was Linda Covington says the PayPal or the Venmo didn't work, but the PayPal does. You can go there and give us support in our PayPal locations here, 2 of them. You'll also see our email address scrolling across the bottom of your screen, rltnspdema at gmail.com. Our mailing address is 504 Bethel Road, Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. We love getting mail. We haven't had any mail in quite some time. Sorry. We haven't had mail in some time. But even the support in your mail is welcome. You can insert a check or money inside your letter. Make sure the money or check is wrapped in the letter. That protects anybody on the outside from knowing what's in the letter. You can also send us a card. Put your donation inside the card. Carol and I want to know what you're doing to prepare. We want to know what you're doing to prepare. That way, some of those things could be shared. We learn from one another. We learn from one another. We appreciate your support. We'd appreciate more cards and letters from each of you. In the past, I've saved each and every card and letter that we got. I have 2 boxes of cards and letters. I also have things that have been given to me, sent to me from people like you. People like you have sent me things. For example, this great big obsidian obelisk. This obsidian obelisk was sent to me. I appreciate it. I collect rocks. I now have a rather substantial rock collection because of you helping me. You guys helping me. This is a round obsidian ball here. A snowflake obsidian ball. You can see the snowflakes in this ball. The snowflakes are caused by the cooling of the lava after it's erupted. That's how the snowflake becomes snowflake here in the obsidian here. It's a good thing. It's a fun thing. I have other rock here as well. I have some gems. Some of you have actually sent me copper and silver ingots. I appreciate that. Because in the emergency, I'm going to need that to help us survive. I really appreciate that as well. Anything that you can do to help us. Yes, many of you have helped Carol fly to Utah for her mother's funeral. I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. That helps. That helps. Folks, I love you. I told you that. I care about you. You guys have helped me a great deal over the past 6.5 years. We were on the air 6 years as of April 3rd this year. Now it's nearly 6.5 years. I love and appreciate each one of you. I want to thank you for your help. I want to thank you for helping support this program, keeping it on the air. It costs money to keep this on the air. When I first started 6.5 years ago, I didn't realize that. Then all of a sudden I started getting bills. How's that possible? Because, folks, it takes bandwidth. It takes bandwidth, not just to be able to just get on the internet. It takes bandwidth to produce these programs, to put these programs on the air. I spent that money wisely to be able to talk to each one of you. That's because I care. Michael Kearney, thank you for that. Sorry for Bessie's loss. Carol's father, Van, is not doing well. Carol's staying at her father's home while she's there. She told me this morning she's had long talks with her father. I'm looking forward to hear what they talked about. He's a pretty good man. Yes, he's made these mistakes, but he's a good man. He's a good man. Yes, we mourn Bessie's loss. Her funeral is at 10 a.m. Western time, Mountain Time, tomorrow morning. I will be busy between 10 and 12 Western Mountain Time tomorrow. Between 12 and 2 tomorrow afternoon here on the East Coast. I'll be watching the Zoom link to her funeral. Guys, I love you. I care about you a lot. I ask God to bless you. God to be with you. Guys, right now we have a bunch of weather coming in here. We're going to have temperatures in excess of 100 degrees during the next 3 or 4 days starting today. It's going to be hot. Those of you that are weathering the heat, make sure your air conditioning is on and or you have your fans. Keep air circulating, that helps you. You can put a damp washcloth around your fans that helps the air circulate cooler air. As that air evaporates, the water in that cool cloth, it'll cool off your home. Remember that. Remember that. I love you guys. Please keep us in your prayers. We're praying for each one of you as well. We love each and every one of you. There's not anybody here that's been a part of our family here that we don't love and care about. We love each one of you. May God be with you. May God bless you each and every day. God be with you until we meet again. We hope you have a great weekend. Please tune in to our Come Follow Me program Sunday afternoon. If anything else happens this weekend, again, we will be on the air about it as soon as the information becomes available, either tomorrow or after the funeral or after our Sunday school class. We'll come on the air and give you the details about it. Have a good night. God bless you. God be with you.